Your phone buzzes with a text that sends a cold wave through your chest. Maybe it is a harsh word from someone you trust, or news that unravels your plans for the week. For a moment, the world narrows to that single, sharp feeling, and you are caught in the storm. We have all been there, but what if you possessed a kind of internal compass, a set of ancient codes that could guide you back to calm, no matter how fierce the emotional weather becomes? This is the true heart of Stoicism. It is not about shutting off your feelings or becoming a stone. It is about installing a resilient operating system in your mind, one built by philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, designed specifically to navigate chaos. By the end of this, you will have a complete toolkit of 25 Stoic codes to remain unshakably centered. We will uncover how loving your fate can turn obstacles into fuel, and why remembering your own death is the ultimate secret to a vibrant life. So tell me, when you think about finding that unshakable calm, what does it look like for you? That feeling of being tossed by a wave of emotion often starts with a simple, hidden mistake. We are trying to steer the ocean. The very first and most powerful Stoic code is a tool to correct this error, a principle so clear it can feel like a superpower once you truly see it. This is the dichotomy of control. The Stoics observed that everything in life falls into one of two categories: things within our complete control and things that are not. Your own thoughts, your judgments about events, your intentions, and your actions, these belong firmly to you. They are your ship's rudder. The opinions of others, the past, the weather, traffic, whether you get that promotion, these are the storms and currents of the sea. They are external. Emotional chaos erupts when we spend our precious energy, our peace of mind, trying to command the storm instead of mastering the rudder. Think about a job interview. You cannot control the other candidates, the mood of the interviewer, or the final decision. What you can control is showing up prepared, answering questions thoughtfully, and presenting your best self. Worrying about the outcome is like a captain screaming at the wind. Focusing on your preparation is taking firm hold of the wheel. This code asks for a radical shift in attention. The next time anxiety or anger rises, pause and ask this single question: is this within my control? If it is not, your task is to release it, not with frustration, but with the clarity of someone who knows a futile battle when they see one. This act of sorting the world into these two piles is the first, essential step toward becoming storm-proof. Sorting the world into what you can and cannot control is the foundation, but the second code is the architecture you build upon it. This is amor-fati, the love of fate. It is a command to not just accept what happens, but to embrace it, to see every single event, especially the difficult ones, as necessary and even beneficial for your life's journey. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, born a slave, framed it like this: do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will go well. This is not passive resignation. It is an active, radical choice to find the hidden gift within the obstacle. Consider Nelson Mandela. Sentenced to life in prison, he faced 27 years of hard labor and isolation. He could have seen himself purely as a victim of a terrible injustice, and he would have been right. But within the confines of that cell, he chose amor-fati. He used the time for rigorous study, for physical discipline, and most importantly, to cultivate a profound patience and strategic vision. The prison did not break him, it forged him into the leader who would later heal a nation. He loved his fate not because the fate was good, but because he determined to make it good. So how do you practice this when your own plans fall apart? The moment something you label as bad occurs, pause the internal complaint. Instead, ask two powerful questions. First, what can I learn from this? Every setback carries a lesson in resilience, creativity, or humility. Second, how does this make me stronger? Adversity is the gym for your character, and this situation is your personal trainer. This stands in stark contrast to a modern victim mentality, which says this happened to me and it defines me. Amor-fati says this happened for me and I will use it to refine myself. It transforms you from a passive character in your story to the active author of your response. Visualize a seed. It must endure the pressure of the dark soil and the cracking of its own shell before it can ever reach for the sun. That breaking is not its destruction, it is the essential process of its growth. Your challenges are that same necessary pressure. To love your fate is to trust the process of your own becoming, knowing that the very things you resist are often the raw materials for your greatest strength. That seed breaking through the soil knows its time is limited, and that is precisely what gives its growth such fierce purpose. The third code takes this understanding to its most profound level, memento mori, the remembrance that you must die. At first glance, this sounds dark, even morbid, but the Stoics saw it as the ultimate source of light. It is not a threat, it is a liberation. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius kept this thought at the forefront of his mind, writing in his private journal, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. He was not being grim, he was installing a filter for his entire existence. When you hold the certainty of your own end clearly in view, something remarkable happens. The petty frustrations that once consumed you, the long line at the coffee shop, the rude comment online, the minor slight from a colleague, they simply lose their power. They are exposed as the background noise they always were. Remembering death is the great clarifier. It sweeps away the trivial and forces a single, piercing question onto center stage: what truly matters. Think of it like an hourglass. The sand is always flowing. You can watch it with anxiety, or you can let its steady passage give urgency and precious weight to every single grain. A modern exercise to bring this code to life is the last day reflection. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if I knew today was genuinely my last, would I be spending this hour the way I am? Would I be having this argument? Would I be scrolling mindlessly, or would I be calling someone I love, stepping outside to feel the sun, or finally starting that project that sings to my soul? This question is not meant to induce panic, but to provoke alignment. It cuts through procrastination and fear because there is no someday left, there is only now. Visualize a calendar on a desk, its pages caught by a sudden breeze, fluttering away one by one into the air. Memento mori is not about counting those lost pages with regret. It is about writing something meaningful, something true, on the one that is right in front of you today. This remembrance does not diminish life, it charges it with an electric, undeniable vitality. It turns the mundane into the sacred and whispers that the time for courage, for kindness, for living by your deepest values is not later, it is this very breath. Yet even the most vital life can feel unbearably heavy when seen only from the ground. The fourth code offers a breathtaking escape hatch from that weight, a mental telescope called the view from above. This is a deliberate exercise where you zoom out, far out from the cramped theater of your personal concerns. Begin by picturing yourself in this very room. Now pull your perspective upward through the ceiling until you see your entire building from above. See the street, then your neighborhood, a patchwork of roofs and roads. Keep going, see your whole city, a tiny grid of light and shadow nestled into the landscape. See your country, a shape on a map. Finally, see the earth itself, a fragile blue marble hanging in the immense, silent blackness of space. From here, what becomes of your urgent crisis, that stressful work meeting, the argument you replayed in your head all night, the anxiety over a comment someone made? It all shrinks into a silent, invisible speck. This is not to say your feelings are invalid, but to correct their scale. You are not at the center of the universe, you are a part of it, and there is a profound relief in that. Your personal drama is happening alongside 8 billion other human dramas, on a planet that is itself a mere traveler orbiting a star in a galaxy among countless others. This cosmic perspective dissolves self-absorption. It connects you to the vast sweep of time and the shared human story of struggle, joy, and impermanence. That colleague who seemed so difficult in the meeting is, from this height, just another person trying to navigate their own brief, precious life. The problem that felt like a mountain becomes a manageable stone on a vast beach. Practice this the next time you feel overwhelmed. Close your eyes for just 30 seconds and take that mental journey from your furrowed brow all the way out to the stars. When you return, you bring back a quiet mind and a humble heart. The storm has not disappeared, but you are now observing it from the calm eye of a hurricane, a silent point of clarity above the swirling clouds. This shift in vantage point is a master key to composure, reminding you that while your choices matter immensely, the weight of the world was never yours to carry alone. From that silent point above the clouds, you gain a clear view of the terrain ahead, including the storms that may gather on the horizon. This foresight is the core of the fifth code, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This practice is often misunderstood as dwelling on the negative or inviting bad luck. In reality, it is the exact opposite. It is a form of emotional and mental vaccination. You expose your mind to a small, controlled dose of difficulty so that you build antibodies against panic when real life delivers a challenge. The Stoic Seneca put it perfectly, writing, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." He is not inviting the trouble, he is disarming it in advance. Let us walk through a powerful example. You have a major presentation tomorrow. The typical approach is to hope for the best, to nervously repeat your lines while pushing away any thought of something going wrong. The Stoic approach is different. You sit quietly and you deliberately visualize the potential obstacles. You see your laptop screen suddenly going black 5 minutes before you begin. You watch the faces in the audience glaze over with disinterest. You hear your own voice stumble as you forget a key point. This is not an exercise in fear. It is a rehearsal for resilience. Now, for each scenario, you visualize your calm, adaptive response. The laptop crashes. You take a deep breath, retrieve your printed notes, and say, "It seems technology has other plans today, so let us proceed the old-fashioned way." The audience looks bored. You pause, ask a direct question to engage them, and shift to a more compelling story. You forget a line. You smile, glance at your notes, and say, "Let me circle back to that in a moment, because first I want to highlight something crucial." By mentally walking through these potential disasters, you accomplish two vital things. First, you reduce the shock factor. If your laptop actually does fail, your first thought will not be a blind panic, but a recognition. This is the scenario I prepared for. Second, and more importantly, you move from a state of fear into a state of problem solving. You have already mapped the exits, so you are no longer trapped by the fire. Imagine a split screen. On one side, a person is frozen, face flushed with panic because an unexpected event has shattered their entire plan. On the other side, a person meets the same event with a look of focused calm, already moving through their pre-considered options. The event is identical, but the internal experience is worlds apart. This practice trains the mind to see obstacles not as monstrous surprises, but as manageable variables, simply part of the landscape you have already surveyed. It transforms anxiety about the unknown into confidence in your own capacity to adapt. You are not predicting a tragic future, you are fortifying your present self against whatever the future may hold. The confidence born from premeditation is a powerful shield, but a shield alone does not forge wisdom. For that, you need a mirror. The sixth code provides exactly that, transforming a simple notebook into a philosophical tool, the Stoic practice of journaling. This is not the diary of childhood secrets, but a deliberate, structured conversation with your highest self. The most famous example is the private writings of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a man who ruled the known world yet spent his evenings in quiet reflection, writing what we now call his meditations. He was not crafting a memoir for others. He was holding himself accountable, rehearsing his principles, and untangling the knots of his own mind. His journal was his nightly debrief with philosophy itself. You can build this same practice with a simple 4-question template. First, what did I do well today? Acknowledge your victories, however small, where you acted with courage, patience, or kindness. This reinforces positive behavior. Second, what could I have improved? Here, review a moment of irritation, fear, or haste with gentle honesty, not self-condemnation. What Stoic principle could have guided you better? This is how you install the updates to your internal operating system. Third, what am I grateful for? This anchors you in the present abundance, countering the brain's natural negativity bias. It could be the warmth of the sun, a helpful conversation, or simply your next breath. Fourth, and this is crucial, what did I try to control today that was not mine to control? This is the daily audit of the dichotomy of control, spotting where you wasted energy on external wins. This nightly ritual is a processing chamber for your emotions. By writing down a frustration, you externalize it, you see its shape and size more clearly, and you can apply your Stoic tools to it directly. The heat of anger cools on the page, leaving behind the clear lesson it carried. Visualize an ancient parchment scroll, its ink detailing the day's trials and triumphs, then watch it seamlessly transform into the clean page of a modern notebook. The tool has evolved, but the human need for self-examination remains unchanged. This practice solidifies the day's lessons, turning fleeting insights into permanent parts of your character. It is the quiet, consistent work that turns philosophy from something you read into something you live, one honest sentence at a time. That nightly journal reveals a truth we often forget in our private struggles. The seventh code, sympatheia, is the recognition of our profound interconnectedness. It is the understanding that you are not an isolated island, but a vital, living part of a single, vast organism, which the Stoics called the cosmos. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he wrote, "We are made for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth." To act against one another is contrary to nature, and it is acting against one another to be vexed and to turn away. Your anger at another person, then, is like a single cell in your body declaring war on a neighboring cell. Both cells are essential to the health of the whole, and their conflict only creates internal sickness. This perspective transforms how you see conflict. When someone is rude, dismissive, or hurtful, sympatheia asks you to look deeper. They are not a villain in your story. They are a fellow human being acting from their own place of ignorance, pain, or flawed judgment, just as you have done at times. Perhaps that impatient driver is rushing to a sick relative. Maybe the critical coworker is projecting their own deep insecurities. This is not about excusing bad behavior, but about understanding its source, which drains the poison of personal offense right out of it. Your reaction shifts from "how dare they do this to me" to "what pain or confusion must be driving them to act this way." This simple reframe is the birthplace of genuine compassion. It reduces the impulse for retaliation and opens the door for patience, or at the very least, a peaceful disengagement. Visualize a vast, glowing neural network, each spark of light representing a person, with countless threads of relationship and consequence connecting them all. Your anger is a surge of red energy that disrupts the entire local web. Your compassion is a calming, blue wave that restores balance. To practice this, the next time you feel slighted, pause and consciously expand your view. See the other person not as a caricature, but as a full human with a history, fears, and dreams, who is, in this moment, simply lost in their own storm. This code dissolves the illusion of separation, reminding you that healing your own reaction is not just a personal victory, it is a contribution to the peace of the whole. Sympatheia teaches us we are all part of a shared human fabric, yet that fabric is woven with threads of inevitable discomfort. The eighth code is a deliberate choice to strengthen those threads before they are tested to their limit. This is the practice of voluntary discomfort. It is the intentional, temporary embrace of minor hardship to inoculate yourself against the fear of future suffering. The Stoics were not masochists, they were pragmatic trainers of the mind. Seneca would periodically sleep on a hard floor, eat only plain bread, and wear simple clothing. Why, he explained, set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, "Is this the condition that I feared?" He was conducting a drill. By willingly experiencing a small dose of lack, he proved to his own nervous system that he could survive it, even thrive within it. This practice shatters the illusion that comfort is a necessity. In our modern world, comfort is often just a click away, from climate-controlled rooms to instant meal delivery. This ease, while pleasant, can make us psychologically fragile, amplifying our fear of any disruption. Voluntary discomfort rebuilds that foundational resilience. It is not about punishing yourself, but about gifting yourself confidence. Think of the modern athlete who trains in the off-season under harsh conditions, or the successful entrepreneur who still lives well below their mean. They are not suffering, they are maintaining a vital edge. You can integrate this code in simple, powerful ways. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Choose a cold shower for the final 30 seconds. Skip a meal and sit with the sensation of hunger, observing it without panic. Walk to the store instead of driving. In each of these small acts, you are sending a clear message to your deepest self. I am not ruled by my cravings. I am stronger than my desire for constant ease. You are not building a tolerance for pain, but a tolerance for the fear of pain. When a genuine hardship arrives, like a financial setback or a physical challenge, your internal dialogue will not be one of terrified novelty, but of calm recognition. This is difficult, but I have faced difficulty before by choice, and I endured. You have already met a version of this adversary in training, and you know the path through it. Visualize a person standing at the base of a cliff, looking up with dread. Now see that same person on a climbing wall in a gym, calmly practicing the moves. The voluntary climb does not eliminate the real cliff, but it replaces blind terror with a map of familiar handholds. This code turns life's inevitable storms from existential threats into challenging but manageable terrain, because you have already learned in 1,000 small ways how to keep your footing. That voluntary climb teaches you to trust your own strength, but strength alone is not the point of the ascent. The ninth code shifts your gaze from the distant peak to the very next handhold, the principle of focusing on the process, not the outcome. This is the practical, daily application of the dichotomy of control. When you attach your happiness, your self-worth, or your peace to a specific result, you hand over the keys to your emotional state to forces you cannot command. You make yourself a hostage to fortune. Think of the job seeker who pins all their hopes on one perfect offer. Every day of waiting is agony, and a rejection feels like a personal catastrophe. Their happiness is dangling from a hook they cannot reach. The Stoic approach is to transfer that investment to the only thing you truly own, your own effort. Your goal is not to get the job, your goal is to become the best candidate you can be. You control the research, the tailored applications, the thoughtful follow-ups. You pour your excellence into that process, then, whatever the outcome, you can stand firm. You did your part with integrity. The result is now external data, not a verdict on your worth. Consider an Olympic athlete. They train for 4 years, a brutal, relentless process of early mornings, pain, and sacrifice. On race day, 100 things outside their control can happen: a stumble, a gust of wind, a competitor's supernatural performance. If their entire sense of achievement is tied to a gold medal, they have built their life on a foundation of potential misery. But if they find their deep satisfaction in the quality of their training, in the discipline of each session, in knowing they left nothing in the tank, then they walk away from any finish line with their head held high. The process itself becomes the reward. This code builds a powerful, intrinsic motivation that no external result can ever take away. Visualize a master woodworker in their shop, their entire world narrowed to the grain of the wood under their hands, the precise movement of their tools, the smell of sawdust in the air. They are not thinking about the finished cabinet on a showroom shelf or the price it might fetch. Their joy is in the act of creation itself, in the skill expressed through their focus. When you adopt this mindset, anxiety melts away because you are no longer gambling your peace on an uncertain future. You are claiming it right now in the deliberate quality of your present action. The scoreboard will always be fickle, but your commitment to your own craft, whether that craft is parenting, writing, or simply living with intention, is a territory you govern completely. That master woodworker's focus is a form of disciplined attention, a gatekeeper for the mind. The 10th code builds this gatekeeper into a conscious practice, the discipline of assent. This is the advanced art of pausing before you accept your initial, raw impression of any event. An impression is not the event itself, it is your mind's first, lightning-fast interpretation, and it is almost always incomplete and emotionally charged. The Stoic Epictetus taught that we are not disturbed by events, but by the views we take of them. The discipline of assent is the crucial moment where you choose whether to endorse that view or to question it. Imagine your phone buzzes with a text from a close friend. It reads, "Can't make it tonight, something came up." Instantly, a story floods your mind. "They are blowing me off, I am not a priority, this is rude." That story is the impression, and if you assent to it, you give it permission to unleash a storm of hurt and resentment. The discipline is to insert a mental stop sign right there. You see the words, you feel the initial sting, but before you believe the story, you pause. You ask two deliberate questions. First, is my interpretation the only possible one, or even the most likely one? Perhaps their child is sick. Maybe a work emergency truly did arise. Second, is this impression about something within my control? Their reason for canceling is not. My choice to assume the worst or to extend grace, that 100% is. This tiny space between the event and your reaction is where your freedom lies. It is the difference between being a puppet jerked by every emotional string and being the puppeteer who decides which strings to pull. Visualize a person staring at their phone, their face beginning to cloud with anger when a bright red stop sign materializes in their mind's eye. They take a breath. The cloud dissipates, replaced by a look of calm curiosity. They type back, "No problem, hope everything is okay, let's reschedule soon." The event was identical, but the internal and external outcome was transformed by that one moment of withheld assent. This practice trains you to see your thoughts as hypotheses, not facts. It turns every surge of emotion into an invitation to investigate, not an order to obey. You begin to catch the stories your mind tells you, the narratives of slight and catastrophe, and you learn to gently set them aside until you have clearer evidence. This is not suppression, it is the highest form of intellectual honesty applied to your own inner world. That moment of withheld assent clears the fog, revealing the obstacle before you in stark detail. The 11th code is the decision to walk directly toward it, not as a victim but as a student. This is the practice of seeing the virtue in the obstacle. While amor-fati is about a loving acceptance of fate, this code is its active, muscular cousin. It states a simple, transformative truth: every single barrier placed in your path is not a blockade but a training ground. It is a custom-built gym where a specific virtue is waiting to be strengthened. The Stoics believed your character is not revealed in calm seas but forged in the storm, and every challenge is the personal trainer for that forge. Your current biggest problem is not a sign the universe is against you, it is an invitation. What virtue is it asking you to develop? Is it a frustrating delay teaching you patience? A financial squeeze demanding creativity, a confrontation requiring courage, a long-term grind testing your perseverance. Reframe the entire situation. That difficult person is not your enemy, they are your patience coach. That failed project is not proof of your inadequacy, it is your resilience instructor. This shift turns resentment into curiosity and dread into purpose. Consider Thomas Edison's famous quest to invent a practical light bulb. After thousands of failed attempts, a reporter asked him how it felt to have failed so many times. Edison did not see failure. He replied, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I have successfully found 10,000 ways that will not work." He was in the virtue gym of perseverance and relentless creativity, and he treated each so-called failure as a necessary rep, strengthening his understanding until he achieved the breakthrough. Your obstacles are your 10,000 ways. Visualize a weightlifter in a simple gym, but instead of iron plates, the weights are clearly labeled with words like budget cuts, family conflict, creative block, or health scare. The lifter is not straining with a grimace, but with a focused, almost serene smile. They understand that the weight is not there to crush them, but to build them. Each lift is making them stronger in a way that comfort never could. So look at the weight you are carrying right now. Name the virtue it is designed to train. Then, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" begin to ask a far more powerful question. What is this happening to train within me? The obstacle is no longer in your way. It has become the way itself. That weight you are lifting in the virtue gym builds something permanent inside you, a structure of the mind the Stoics called the inner citadel. This is the 12th code, and it is the ultimate destination of all this practice. Picture a fortress not of stone, but of your own cultivated character, standing at the very center of your being. Its walls are made from the principles you have been installing, from the dichotomy of control to the discipline of ascent. Within these walls lies your true self, your capacity for reason, your moral purpose, your peace. The crucial point is this: no external event can breach these walls unless you personally open the gate and invite it in. Criticism, loss, failure, even sudden praise and flattery, they are all like arrows shot from the outside world. They clatter harmlessly against the outer walls if you have built them strong. They only wound you if you forget they are external and bring them inside, holding them close as if they define you. This is the stark contrast to a life lived for external validation. When your sense of worth is hooked to likes, promotions, or the approval of others, you have no citadel. You are a tent in an open field, completely at the mercy of every changing wind. A compliment blows through and puffs you up, a harsh word tears a hole in your side, and you spend all your energy just trying to stay upright in the storm. The inner citadel turns you from that fragile tent into a self-sustaining fortress. You are not immune to feeling, but you are sovereign over your judgment of those feelings. So how is this citadel actually built? It is not constructed in a day through a single grand gesture. It is laid brick by brick through the daily, often quiet practice of these very codes. Every time you pause before assenting to an angry impression, you add a stone to the wall. Every moment you choose to focus on your effort rather than the outcome, you reinforce the foundation. Each act of voluntary discomfort strengthens the gate. There is no shortcut. It is the accumulation of 1,000 small, correct choices. Visualize a person standing calmly, and within their chest, a magnificent fortress is being built in time-lapse. Bricks of discipline slot into place, towers of perspective rise, and a moat of clear judgment fills around it. From the outside, emotional arrows of insult, anxiety, and envy fly toward them, but upon impact, they simply shatter into harmless dust against the glowing walls. The person within does not flinch. They feel the impact, but they know it cannot touch what is truly theirs. This is the centered state these codes are designed to create. A profound and unshakable home within yourself that no emotional storm can ever destroy. You are always safe inside your own mind because you have made it a place worth defending. A fortress is not built to be empty. Its strength exists for a purpose to allow action in a dangerous world. The 13th code is the precise blueprint for how to act from within your inner citadel. This is the reserve clause, a practical mental tool that lets you pursue your goals with total commitment while holding the outcome with an open hand. It means adding a silent, internal caveat to every intention, the phrase, fate permitting, or if nothing prevents me. You do not say this out loud as an excuse for half-effort. You hold it in your heart as an acknowledgement of reality. You give the presentation your absolute best, fate permitting the projector to function. You train for the marathon with relentless discipline, if nothing prevents me, like an unexpected injury. You apply for the job with perfect preparation, understanding that the final decision rests with forces beyond your command. This is the elegant fusion of ambition and acceptance. It allows you to pour your entire spirit into the process, which you control, while consciously releasing your grip on the specific result, which you do not. Without this clause, your ambition becomes a brittle contract with the universe. You believe that if you work hard enough, you are owed a specific outcome. When life inevitably fails to honor that contract, you shatter into frustration or despair. The reserve clause rewrites the contract. It states, I will do my part with excellence, and I will meet whatever actually happens with equanimity. Visualize a runner exploding from the starting blocks, every muscle straining toward the finish line. Above their head, in a calm thought bubble, are the words, if I don't twist my ankle. The effort is no less fierce, but the mind is free from the tyranny of a single, demanded future. This mental posture prevents the bitter poison of entitlement from ever taking root. You are not owed a smooth path, but you owe it to yourself to walk whatever path appears with grace and strength. The reserve clause is how you run your race with your whole heart, yet cross any finish line or no finish line at all with your peace intact. The reserve clause frees your ambition from the tyranny of a single outcome, but in the heat of a difficult moment, you still need a clear voice to follow. The 14th code gives you that voice by inviting a wise companion into your inner citadel. This is the practice of contemplating the sage. Your sage is a mental model of an ideal wise person, a north star for your character. They can be a real historical figure you deeply admire, like Socrates facing his execution with calm curiosity, or Marcus Aurelius writing his principles by candlelight while ruling an empire. They can also be a fictional mentor like Yoda from Star Wars, whose cryptic wisdom cuts straight to the heart of a matter. The purpose is not to idolize them, but to externalize your own highest judgment. When emotion clouds your vision, you simply pause and ask one powerful question: what would the sage do in this situation? This question acts as a shortcut, bypassing the tangled mess of your immediate feelings and accessing the principles you have been working to install. It is like having a direct line to your own wisdom, spoken in a voice you trust. The key is to choose a sage whose specific traits resonate with the virtues you wish to cultivate. Do you need more serenity in chaos? Perhaps your sage is the Dalai Lama, responding to aggression with unwavering compassion. Do you struggle with courage in the face of fear? Your sage could be Harriet Tubman, leading others to freedom through immense personal risk. Do you need more playful wisdom? Maybe it is Mr. Rogers, meeting every person and problem with gentle, unwavering kindness. Picture a gallery of these wise minds, a visual montage passing before your eyes, from the serene face of the Buddha to the determined eyes of Eleanor Roosevelt, from the thoughtful gaze of Albert Einstein to the steadfast presence of Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird. Each represents a facet of human excellence. When your boss sends a blistering email instead of firing off a reactive reply, you take a breath and ask, how would my sage respond? You might see Marcus Aurelius considering the sender's own stress, or Yoda reminding you that fear leads to anger. This single question creates a vital moment of space, pulling you out of the storm and onto the solid ground of principle. It turns a reactive impulse into a chosen response, guided by the best version of yourself you are striving to become. Your sage is the living embodiment of your inner citadel, a constant reminder that you already know the way, you just need to remember to listen. Your sage offers wise counsel, but they would be the first to advise you to guard your attention like a sacred resource. This leads directly to the 15th code, a powerful act of mental hygiene called limiting your circle of concern. Think of your mind as having a finite budget of energy and focus. Every day you make withdrawals from this budget. The dichotomy of control taught you to sort the world into what you can and cannot influence. This code takes that a step further, urging you to consciously shrink the size of your mental investments in that vast outer circle. Your circle of concern is enormous. It contains everything you care about or worry over, from your child's happiness to a political scandal on another continent, from your career progress to the latest celebrity divorce. It is natural to care, but it is crippling to worry equally about all of it. Your circle of influence, however, is much smaller. It contains only the things your actions can actually affect: your own behavior, your immediate environment, the project on your desk, the tone of your conversation with a neighbor. Anxiety and a sense of helplessness flourish in the gap between these two circles. You spend your precious mental currency fretting over news headlines you cannot change, or speculating about a colleague's private opinion of you, while the work that is truly yours sits neglected. The practice is to conduct a ruthless audit. When you find your mind churning over a distant political drama, a hypothetical global catastrophe, or the personal lives of people you have never met, you must consciously redirect that energy. Ask yourself, is this within my circle of influence? If the answer is no, you gently but firmly escort that thought to the door. This is not about being uncaring or uninformed. It is about being strategic with your peace. Visualize a simple Venn diagram. One large, faint circle labeled concern contains everything. Inside it, a smaller, solid, brightly glowing circle labeled influence overlaps. The practice is to shrink the large circle of concern and pour that energy into expanding your circle of influence, making that inner circle glow even brighter. For example, instead of spending an hour in anxious scrolling about climate change, you could use 30 minutes of that time to research local recycling programs or plant a tree in your yard. You have transferred energy from helpless worry into meaningful action. You move from being a passive audience member in the global theater to an active participant on your own stage. The storm of world events still rages, but you are no longer standing outside in the downpour, shouting at the clouds. You have come inside, lit a fire, and begun building something that matters right where you are. That strategic focus on your own stage makes the scenery there infinitely more precious. The 16th code is a practice designed to make you see it that way every single day. This is negative visualization, a close relative to premeditatio malorum, but with a different and beautiful purpose. While premeditatio prepares you for potential troubles, negative visualization actively cultivates a deep, vibrant gratitude for the ordinary blessings you already possess. The exercise is simple, yet its emotional impact is profound. You deliberately and briefly imagine the loss of something you cherish. You picture your health failing, your closest relationship ending, your home gone. You sit with that feeling of absence, not to dwell in sadness, but to create a stark contrast. Then you open your eyes to the reality that it is still here. That your body is strong, that your loved one is in the next room, that your roof is over your head. The sudden return to what is real floods you with a relief so powerful it feels like joy. This is not a morbid fixation on loss. It is a philosophical tool to defeat the brain's greatest thief, habituation. We are wired to take the constant for granted. The comfortable chair disappears beneath you. The loyal partner becomes part of the background. The ability to breathe easily is forgotten until it is strained. Negative visualization breaks that trance. It is like briefly turning off the electricity in your house so that when you flip the switch back on, you truly see the miracle of the light. Let us try a 30-second version right now. Think of someone you love deeply, a partner, a parent, a child, a friend. Now for just 10 seconds, imagine they are gone from your life. Not just distant, but truly, irrevocably absent. Feel the hollow space that would leave in your world. Notice the silence where their laughter was. Now open your eyes to the truth. They are here, they exist. You have the profound gift of their presence in your life today. That wave of warmth you feel rushing in to fill that imagined void, that is the essence of gratitude sharpened to a point. Visualize a framed family photograph on a shelf. For a moment, the faces within it gently fade, becoming translucent ghosts. Then, with a conscious breath, the image snaps back into focus, the colors more vivid, the smiles more radiant than you ever noticed before. You did not need to lose them to love them, but by touching the possibility of loss, you remember how to love them fully. Now, make this a nightly ritual. Before sleep, spend 1 minute. Mentally kiss your sleeping child goodnight and imagine their empty bed. Feel the ache, then feel the overwhelming gratitude as you look at them breathing peacefully. This practice does not attract loss, it repels regret. It ensures you never look back and whisper, "I did not know it was the last time." Instead, you live with the quiet, fierce knowledge that every ordinary day is a hidden festival, and every person in it is a temporary, magnificent guest. Gratitude for what you have begins with the words you choose to describe it. The 17th code applies the Stoic discipline of action directly to your most powerful tool, your speech. Before any word leaves your mouth, you install a simple 3-part filter. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? This is not about becoming overly polite or silent, but about preventing the self-inflicted emotional storms that arise from gossip, harsh criticism, or the debris of an impulsive argument. Every careless word is a crack in your inner citadel, an invitation for regret and turmoil to seep back inside. The Stoic teacher Epictetus offered a physical reminder of this priority, noting, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." True communication, then, starts not with output but with deep, attentive input. Imagine you are on the receiving end of a project that missed the mark. The unfiltered reaction might be a blunt, "This is all wrong. What were you thinking?" That statement may feel true in your frustration, but it fails the other 2 filters spectacularly. It is not necessary to lead with condemnation, and it is certainly not kind. Applying the filter forces a recalibration. You pause. The truth is the work has errors. Is it necessary to point them out? Yes, for improvement. Is it kind to do so in a way that preserves the other person's dignity and encourages better work? Absolutely, your restructured speech might become, "I see the effort here. For it to hit the mark, we need to adjust a few key areas. Let us walk through them together." The core information is identical, but the emotional climate is transformed from one of defensive storm to collaborative clarity. Visualize a person speaking, but between their mind and their lips, their words must pass through 3 glowing gates, each marked with a question. The harsh, reactive words shatter against the first or second gate. Only those that pass through all 3, emerging as statements that are factual, useful, and compassionate, actually reach the air. This practice protects others, but its greatest gift is to you. It spares you the aftermath of shame, the energy spent repairing relationships, the quiet guilt of knowing you spoke from irritation rather than integrity. Your speech becomes an extension of your inner fortress, deliberate, strong, and built to create peace, not conflict. Your speech builds peace around you, but the final sanctuary is the quiet space within. The 18th Stoic Code offers a radical promise: your ruling center cannot be harmed. The Stoics called this core your hegemonikon, the seat of your reason and moral choice. They held that no external event, no insult, no loss, no public failure can ever touch this inner citadel directly. The damage is never in the event itself, but only in the judgment you attach to it. An insult is just sound waves in the air or pixels on a screen. It only becomes a wound when your mind agrees, yes, this defines me, this diminishes me. A business venture fails, and that is a fact of the market. It only becomes a crushing personal defeat when you judge it as proof of your inadequacy. This understanding is the ultimate source of resilience. You are not a leaf in the storm, you are the tree. And while the storm may strip your leaves, it cannot uproot your trunk unless you consent to the uprooting. Think of a blueprint for a house. A hurricane can shatter the windows, tear off the roof, and flood the rooms. The house is damaged, yes, but the blueprint itself, the lines on the paper, remains untouched, perfectly intact. From that blueprint, the house can be rebuilt, stronger and wiser for the experience. Your ruling center is that blueprint. The chaotic events of life are the hurricane. They can damage your circumstances, your feelings, even your physical well-being, but they cannot lay a finger on the essential design of your character, your capacity to choose, and your ability to reason. That is yours alone to preserve or surrender. This separation of event from interpretation is your greatest power. Visualize a person standing in a city street, chaos swirling around them, cars honking, people shouting, rain pouring down. Yet at their very center, a small, steady sphere of light glows with perfect calm. The noise and motion cannot penetrate it. That light is your hegemonicon. The next time you feel truly hurt or shaken, pause and place a hand over your heart. Ask yourself, what is the raw event and what is the story I am telling myself about it? The raw event is neutral data. The story is your judgment. You can choose in that moment to protect the blueprint, to say, this happened, but it does not get to rewrite my design. This is how you remain unbroken, not because bad things stop happening, but because you finally understand that they happen to you, not within you. Protecting your inner blueprint requires a method for processing the storms that do arrive. The 19th code is a structured ritual for exactly that, a modern synthesis of Stoic reflection called Find the Lesson, Then Move On. This is the deliberate transition from passive suffering to active learning. When a painful event strikes, a rejection, a betrayal, a failure, the initial wave of emotion is natural and real. The Stoic mistake is not in feeling it, but in setting up permanent residence within it. This code gives you a clear exit strategy. First, you grant yourself a defined period to fully feel the emotion, whether it is grief, anger, or disappointment. You might set a timer for 20 minutes, an hour, or even a full day. During this time, you do not judge the feeling, you simply allow it to be present. This honors your humanity, but when the timer ends, your work begins. You consciously shift gears from feeling to analysis. You ask two focused questions. What is the practical lesson here, and what does this reveal about my values or expectations? Perhaps the lesson from a failed project is that you need to delegate more or ask for help sooner. Maybe a friendship ending reveals you value loyalty more deeply than you realized, or that you had unrealistic expectations of others. The goal is to extract the nutrient from the poison. Once you have identified the lesson, you make a conscious, almost ceremonial decision. You say to yourself, I have felt this, I have learned from it, and now I choose to stop ruminating. This is not repression, it is completion. You are filing the experience away in the folder of lessons learned, not leaving it open on the desktop of your mind where it can constantly pop up and distract you. Visualize a person standing under a dark, heavy cloud of sadness. They look up, reach into the cloud, and pull out a single, glowing filament, a bright idea. They then release the cloud, watching it dissipate into the air while they hold up the filament, now a shining light bulb of insight. The emotional energy is not gone, it has been transformed into illumination. This framework prevents a passing emotional storm from settling in as a permanent, gloomy climate of regret or bitterness. It ensures that every hardship, without exception, pays you a dividend in wisdom, making you not just a survivor of the past, but a wiser architect of the future. That glowing light bulb of insight illuminates a profound truth about your own hands. They already hold more than enough. The 20th code is the art of stoic contentment, a state defined not by getting what you want, but by authentically wanting what you already have. This stands in direct opposition to the engine of modern life, the hedonic treadmill. We chase the next raise, the newer car, the bigger house, believing that just over that horizon lies lasting satisfaction. Yet upon arrival, the horizon simply moves again. The treadmill speeds up and we run faster, mistaking motion for progress and acquisition for peace. Stoic contentment steps off the treadmill entirely. It is the realization that the treasure you seek is not in the next store or the next life stage. It is buried in the ground you are standing on right now, if you would only stop digging and start appreciating. This art is powered by two practices we have already built. First, the deep gratitude cultivated through negative visualization, where you regularly remember the fragility of your blessings to feel their full weight. And second, a fierce focus on the present moment, this single breath, this ordinary view from your window, as the only place where life is actually lived. The Roman Stoic Seneca captured the economics of this perfectly when he wrote, "True wealth is wanting little." He was not advocating for poverty, but for a liberation from endless want. Your bank account can grow, but if your desires grow faster, you become poorer with every deposit. Contentment recalibrates your internal economy so that your sense of sufficiency is not tied to external fluctuations. So here is a direct challenge, a 30-second audit of your present wealth. Pause the video if you wish, look around you right where you are. Name 3 things right now that you are genuinely content with. It could be the warmth of this mug in your hands, the sturdy roof sheltering you from the weather, the simple fact that your body knows how to breathe and your heart knows how to beat without any command from you. It could be the presence of a pet, the quiet of the early morning, or a book that awaits you. These are not small things. They are the fundamental bricks of a good life, often overlooked because they are not shouting for your attention like advertisements do. Visualize a person sitting by a window, a soft smile on their face as they look not at a screen, but at the steam rising from a simple cup of coffee, or the way the afternoon light filters through the leaves of an ordinary tree outside. They are not waiting for happiness to arrive. They have recognized it as a guest that has been here all along, sitting quietly in the corner of the room, waiting only for you to offer it your attention. That quiet contentment in your own corner of the world is not a retreat from others, but the solid ground from which you can see them more clearly. The 21st code elevates the principle of interconnectedness into a conscious identity. Be a citizen of the world. The ancient Stoics called this cosmopolitanism, from the Greek words for cosmos, universe, and polis, city. They declared that our primary allegiance is not to a tribe, a nation, or a political party, but to the universal human community, bound together by our shared capacity for reason. This is sympatheia made into a personal creed. It actively combats the petty tribalism, the reflexive nationalism, and the corrosive us versus them thinking that fuels so many of our modern emotional storms, from online outrage to real-world conflict. When you identify first as a citizen of the world, every other person, regardless of their passport, their beliefs, or their background, shifts in your perception. They are no longer a foreigner or an opponent, but a fellow citizen of the same vast, fragile polis. This does not mean you abandon your local responsibilities or your cultural heritage. It means you frame them within a larger context. You are a member of your neighborhood, within your city, within your country, within humanity, within the living world. The smaller circles are contained within the largest, not separate from it. The relevance of this code in today's polarized landscape could not be more urgent. Social media algorithms and partisan news often profit by drawing bright, angry lines between groups, simplifying complex individuals into caricatures to be despised. Adopting a cosmopolitan mindset is an act of intellectual resistance. It asks you to look past the label, past the slogan, and see the human being who, like you, experiences fear, hopes for security, and seeks meaning. They are acting from their own reasoning, however flawed it may seem from your vantage point. Your task is not necessarily to agree with them, but to recognize their fundamental membership in the same community you belong to. This recognition drains the poison of hatred and replaces it with the more demanding but more peaceful work of understanding or principled disagreement. Close your eyes for a moment and summon that powerful visual, the earth as seen from space, a blue and white marble hanging in the velvet black. From that distance, the borders we fight over, the walls we build, the lines we draw in the sand are utterly invisible. All you see is home. Everyone you have ever known, everyone you have ever argued with or loved, every hero and every villain from history, all lived their entire lives on that single tiny sphere. This perspective is not a naive dream of unity, it is a practical tool for emotional centering. The next time you feel a surge of division rising, step back to that cosmic view. See the other person as another inhabitant of the same small planet on the same brief journey. This shift does not solve the conflict, but it ensures the storm it creates within you is one of thoughtful engagement, not blind hatred. You are not just defending your tribe, you are conversing with a fellow citizen of the universe, and that changes everything about how you choose to speak and listen. A billionaire's private jet and a beggar's cardboard shelter are both temporary accommodations on the same brief journey. The 22nd Stoic Code returns to the remembrance of death, but with a powerful social lens. Memento mori is not just a personal clarifier, it is the ultimate social equalizer. Every person who has ever made you feel small, every figure of authority who seems untouchable, every celebrity whose life appears flawless, and every peer whose success sparks a pang of envy, shares one inevitable, non-negotiable fate with you. They will die. This is not a morbid fixation, but a liberating truth. It places every human being on the exact same level playing field of shared mortality. When you internalize this, the entire theater of social status begins to lose its compelling power. The fancy titles, the luxury brands, the curated online personas, they are like elaborate costumes in a play where every actor, regardless of their role, will take their final bow. This realization actively dissolves envy. You see someone with a bigger house or a more impressive job, and the old story of comparison might whisper, "They are ahead of me." The equalizer quietly responds, and we are both heading to the same destination. Their possessions do not exempt them from the human condition. This also dismantles social anxiety. That intimidating executive in the boardroom, the person whose opinion feels so weighty, is, in the long view, just another mortal. They have fears, they will experience loss, they will one day be gone. This does not mean you disrespect them, but it frees you from placing them on a pedestal that elevates them above the common human experience. Your worth is not measured against theirs on a societal scoreboard that death will eventually erase. Imagine a chessboard. The kings and queens, the bishops and knights, the rooks and the pawns all hold different powers and move in different ways. The game creates an illusion of hierarchy and permanent difference. But when the game ends, every single piece, from the most powerful to the most humble, is swept into the same box. Their distinctions vanish in the darkness of the container. Your life is not about winning a game defined by others, but about how you move while you are still on the board, knowing the box awaits everyone. The next time you feel diminished by someone's status or inflated by your own, pause and bring this equalizer to mind. Look past the costume to the mortal wearing it. This practice cultivates a profound humility that is neither self-effacing nor arrogant. It simply recognizes the fundamental equality of all souls traveling the same brief, precious road. It allows you to engage with others not from a place of lack or superiority, but from a place of shared humanity where the only currency that finally matters is the character you build along the way. The chess pieces all return to the same box, and the only move you ever truly make is the one happening right now. The 23rd code is a piercing reminder of this reality, that the present moment is all you have. While this echoes modern mindfulness, the Stoic framing carries a distinct, urgent practicality. For the Stoic, this is not merely a soothing technique for stress, it is a non-negotiable fact of existence with profound moral weight. The past is a memory, a story you tell yourself. The future is a projection, a guess. Both are mental phantoms. The only territory that is real, the only ground where your will can actually plant its feet and act, is this single, fleeting point called now. Marcus Aurelius put it with stunning clarity when he wrote, "Remember that each day is a separate life." He was not being poetic, he was issuing an operational command. To spend this day, this hour, drowning in regret over yesterday or anxiety about tomorrow is not just unproductive, it is a literal theft. You are robbing the only life you are guaranteed to live, which is today's, to pay a debt to ghosts. Worry and regret are the taxes you impose on the present for events you cannot change and outcomes you cannot see. So how do you reclaim this stolen territory? The practice is deceptively simple, but its effect is revolutionary. It begins with an anchor. For just 1 minute, you drop the storylines of past and future, and you bring your full attention to the raw, physical sensation of your own breathing. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils. Notice the slight pause at the top of the inhale. Feel the warmer air leaving your body on the exhale. Your mind will wander, that is its job. The practice is not to stop the wandering, but to notice it has wandered and without judgment gently guide it back to the breath. This is not about achieving bliss. It is about performing a reality check. You are training your awareness to reside in the only place where life is actually happening. Visualize an hourglass, the sand flowing steadily from the top chamber, representing the unchangeable past, into the bottom chamber, the unknown future. But in the narrow center, a single grain of sand is illuminated, glowing with intense focus. That is the present moment. It is the only point of contact, the only place where you can exert any influence on the flow. Your breath is the feeling of that single grain passing through your hands. This minute of anchoring does not solve your external problems, but it solves the internal one, which is the problem of being absent from your own life. It returns you to your command post, right here, right now, where your reason is clear and your next right action becomes obvious. The past and future are useful for planning and learning, but they are terrible places to live. Your home, your only real home, is this breath and the next one and the one after that. That single grain of sand in the hourglass, your present moment, is too precious to waste on every passing conflict. The 24th code is a masterclass in strategic energy. Choose your battles wisely. This is Stoic discernment applied directly to the fire of human friction. It recognizes that not every slight requires a response, and not every argument deserves to be won. In fact, the most powerful and centered action you can often take is the deliberate, conscious choice not to engage at all. You preserve your finite peace and focus for the few things that truly align with your values and your purpose. This principle draws a bright, crucial line between courage and foolish pride. Courage is standing firm on a matter of deep principle, even when it is difficult. Foolish pride is insisting on being right in a trivial online debate, or correcting someone's minor factual error just to prove your superiority, or escalating a tense moment because your ego felt brushed. The warrior who charges at every perceived threat is not brave, they are exhausted and soon to be defeated. The true warrior, the Stoic one, knows the immense power in sheathing their sword. They assess the field, understand that some skirmishes are mere distractions from the real objective, and they walk away with their strength intact. Visualize a crowded city street. Two people are beginning to shout, faces red, fingers pointing, a storm of anger brewing between them. A third person, who could easily be drawn into the fray, simply takes a slow breath, turns, and walks calmly in the opposite direction. They are not fleeing in fear, they are making a sovereign decision. Their inner citadel is secure, and they see no value in allowing those shouting voices to set up a siege. They are choosing their peace over the petty satisfaction of a momentary victory. To practice this, institute a mental checkpoint. The next time you feel that hot urge to correct, to counter, to prove a point, pause. Ask yourself 3 quick questions. First, does this truly matter to my core values or my key goals? Second, is engaging likely to produce a better outcome or just more noise? And third, what will this cost me in terms of my tranquility? If the cost outweighs the principle, you have your answer. Sheathe the sword. Let the other person have the last word. Disengage from the social media thread. This is not weakness, it is the advanced strength of someone who knows that their energy is the most valuable currency they possess, and they refuse to spend it on junk. You are not here to win every argument, you are here to live a good life, and sometimes the very best way to do that is to simply let the small storm pass by while you remain unshakably in your own calm. Sheathing your sword in the small battles leaves your hands free for the most important work of all, the daily construction of a life. This brings us to the final, 25th Stoic code, the one that ties every other principle into a single empowering truth. Your character and the life you live are not defined by what happens to you, but by the sum of your choices in response. Every single moment, from the mundane to the monumental, is a fresh opportunity to choose virtue over vice, reason over reaction, and courage over comfort. This places the ultimate responsibility, and therefore the ultimate power, for being centered squarely on you. It is the full circle return to the very first code, the dichotomy of control. You began by learning to sort the world, to see what is yours and what is not. You end by realizing that the only thing that ever truly matters, the only thing that builds your inner citadel brick by brick, is what you do with what is yours. Your choices are the raw material of your soul. Think of your life as a path through a dense, endless forest. With every step, the trail forks. One direction is paved with the easy, reactive choices, the path of complaint, of blame, of indulging every passing irritation or fear. The other, often narrower and steeper, is the path of the chosen response, the road of patience, of integrity, of focused effort. You are at that fork 100 times a day. Do you snap at the barrister who got your order wrong, or do you correct them with kindness? Do you spend the evening ruminating on a criticism, or do you extract the lesson and then deliberately move on? Do you see the obstacle as a curse or as the virtue gym? No single choice seems to define you, but the sum of them, the relentless accumulation of thousands of tiny turns toward the higher path, forges an unshakable character. It is how an ordinary person becomes extraordinary, not through a single heroic act, but through a lifetime of heroic moments so small they often go unnoticed by anyone but you. Visualize that person walking through the forest, and with each step the path splits again. They do not walk a straight, predestined line. They consciously, deliberately choose the upward turn, the sunlit clearing, the steadier ground. Over the miles, the pattern of their footsteps creates a map of resilience, a topography of peace that no external storm can ever wash away. This is the final secret. Being centered is not a permanent state you achieve and then forget. It is a continuous, moment-to-moment practice of choosing your steps. The emotional storm does not get a vote on your direction, only you do. So when the next wave hits, and it will, remember the codes are not just ideas, they are choices waiting to be made. Your next breath is a fork in the path. Which way will you choose to step? Those 25 choices are your map through the forest, and together they form a complete navigation system for the human mind. This journey through the Stoic codes is not a collection of random tips, but an integrated philosophy of resilience. Each principle connects to and reinforces the others, building that inner citadel from the ground up. Remember, this was never about becoming emotionless or turning yourself into stone. It is about something far more powerful, learning to feel the full force of the storm without letting it sweep you away. It is about meeting anger, grief, fear, and even joy with wisdom and strength so that you remain the captain of your own soul. The goal is not to avoid the storm, but to learn how to sail through it. Now, you do not need to master all 25 codes at once. That would be overwhelming. The wisdom is in the practice. This week, choose just one. Perhaps you start with the nightly Stoic journal, asking those 4 simple questions to process your day. Or maybe you begin with the foundational dichotomy of control, pausing in moments of stress to ask, is this mine to steer? Anchor yourself in that single practice. Let it become a habit, a new reflex of your mind. Then, when it feels solid, choose another. This is how you build the life you want from the inside out, one conscious choice at a time. The Stoic teacher Epictetus, who endured slavery and exile, left us with words that capture the entire journey. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reaction is your sovereignty. It is the one thing no one can ever take from you unless you give it away. So I am curious, which of these 25 codes resonated most deeply with you? Share your choice in the comments below and let us build a community of practice. If you found this map useful, subscribe for more guides to practical wisdom. The path to an unshakable center is walked one step at a time, and your next step begins now.